be a threat in the playoffs?
I'm sure we'll find out. Najin versus Samsung. Picks and bans for game number 1, and there's a Yasuo ban coming out against Crown. Interesting. Kalista ban, of course, against Najin. There's a Hecarim ban against Kuve and the Rise. So pretty standard red side bans, but I'm a little bit surprised about the Yasuo.
I'm surprised about the Hecarim, too. Now, in Najin's last best of 3, they did lose to Kuro's Yasuo.
That is true.
And they lost hard. They're also going to ban the Kog'Maw. I think this is smart against Fury if OQ doesn't want to play it. And, well, I'm sure that OQ would be a fine Kog'Maw. He really likes to get in the mix. He likes to get down and dirty with the Vayne, with the Sivir, with the Lucian. He likes to get into the middle of team fights.
Indeed, there's an Annie, and the Sivir picked up really fast for Samsung.
Yeah, the Annie will be right there for Luna, who's been taking over for Wraith recently, and he's been pretty solid.
Has not been bad. Even seen some Bard picks earlier this season, which is pretty cool. Now, we saw one Leona game the other day, and it really seems like Leona's a champion that could really start coming back here with the way the meta's going.
Right, and since we see a lot of these support bans and bans against primary engaged supports, that does bring up some questions. And interestingly, Najin is going to prioritize the Victor over the Azir, even though they know Crown plays it. Corki actually going to be the pick from OQ, a champion that hasn't really been playing recently, so that is a very interesting draft from Najin.
Yeah, and it's not the type of champion that you can really hard carry on, too, so we'll see what he's got in mind for this.
Especially taking a matchup that isn't good for Corki pre-6, especially with that Annie to get in there and get some stuns down, maybe get some good trades off with the Sivir. Now, the Nidalee being flashed right now, of course, one of Samsung's primary champions, and Kuve is actually going to blind pick the Gnar. That is very interesting indeed. Of course, Gnar is definitely a very safe blind pick. He's good in many matchups thanks to his range.
Yeah, very true. Maokai would be pretty reasonable for Duke.
Yasuo. The Yasuo and Hecarim bans are so weird from Najin.
Well, it makes you wonder if they've got something planned for the top lane, but right now it's just looking like a very standard pick.
Well, certainly Kuve is a good Hecarim player. That's not deniable, but I just don't think Hecarim is that strong anymore. He requires too much time to build into items. Sure, maybe going back to the Thresh. They already have the Maokai to engage if they need to, so they have a little bit more pick potential with the burst from the Corki and the Victor with the Thresh and the lane.
You know, that Hecarim ban is especially weird too, because Najin wants to put you on things that are very vulnerable in the early game, and Hecarim certainly is.
Yeah, especially if you're going to take the Maokai, you do have some nice gank potential there, but they're not going to deal with it. Last lock will be the Azir, to the surprise of no one.
Yep.
Samsung really liking that. I mean, both teams looking like they've got some pretty well-rounded standard compositions for both sides. A little bit more poke from Samsung. And Najin has that Corki. That does surprise me that that's where they go after the Sivir. I would have expected to see a Lucian after we saw the Sivir locked in, but OQ obviously just feeling confident that wants to provide more magic damage poke alongside the Victor.
I suppose.
Yeah, not a lot of good gank avenues for Eve, though, on this Nidalee. Not until Gnar hits 6, and maybe, I mean, really, bottom lane is the only lane he could feasibly go to before 6, and after 6, he's going to have some more options with the Gnar stun and the Tibbers coming in, as well as the ability to kind of isolate Goong with that Emperor's Divide, but definitely much more attractive ganking in the side lanes from Watch here early. So we'll see if he can make that work, try and get Duke or OQ ahead. Probably going to be a lane swap from Najin, because standard lanes for Najin are both bad in top and bottom, pre-6. So I think we'll see Najin attempt that.
Seems like it's going to be a pretty quiet early game either way, but who knows. Could end up being bloodthirsty after all. I've got my fingers crossed. I'd like to see it. We'll find out who takes the early lead. Najin versus Samsung, game 1. And welcome to Summoner's Rift, again for our first game of the night. Najin Empire versus Samsung Galaxy. And from here on out, you know, if you're in playoff contention, every match is really a must-win, and it's really a must 2-0 because, like we mentioned earlier, every single spot you can move up in the brackets is one less best of 5 that you have to play in that playoff gauntlet, and that is so big.
It's also not only that for this season, it's also potentially in terms of points because you're guaranteeing yourself more circuit points for the World Championship. So even if you can get one spot up here, it may well mean you also have one less best of 5 to play when it comes for the Korean qualifier. And especially teams that only have 10 points, like Najin, like KT, these are really, really important. So the stakes are very high. The teams, I think, really do understand that. And we're going to see some kind of very good matches for the rest of the season. We've got only a couple weeks left now.
Yeah, we definitely should. The season is winding down, but the effort is certainly not going to decrease from any of these teams because even the ones that look kind of one-sided, you know, that means that the team that already is going to the playoffs wants to win it as hard as they can, and the losing team maybe wants to mess them up a bit.
Yeah, and even for teams like Samsung, of course, they don't want to fight in any kind of relegation tournament, so
that too.
There's extra incentive there, although I will say that it is unlikely for any team currently in Champions to be relegated, just given the current state of the challenger scene. Lots of saplings going down 3, actually.
Yeah, gonna help watch out with this. I wonder, do you think Duke's just gonna take the little ones in? No, looks like they're just gonna double jungle it.
Just double jungle it, and we do see the lane swap coming in as expected. Pretty clear that this was going to be the case. And Goog actually getting some nice harass damage down early. He took his Q at level 1.
Ah, so you can go in and poke with that and then use the shield to take a couple auto attacks from the Sand Soldiers.
Yeah, interesting.
Clever.
So, yeah, in terms of the challenger scene, for those of you wondering, the reason why it's unlikely that any current team sort of gets relegated is because it would have to happen by an amateur team. And, Pure is pulling a peekaboo.
Yeah, he's coming in really early here at level 1 for him. Crown on the run, very low health.
Luna's here.
Luna coming up, he's got his stun. Pure's going to reach over the wall for a little bit of auto attack damage as Goon takes a bit himself too, getting very low. Luna comes in, pops that Ignite. Not going to be enough damage onto Goon, but here comes Eve. Pure's got to be a little bit careful here too. That was a very dangerous moment for Crown, but Samsung able to turn that one around.
Good read there by Luna.
Yeah.
Because he saw that Crown was pushed so far up into the lane, and they knew that Thresh had just been at their red buff. That was actually very, very good awareness from Luna to save Crown, because Crown was probably dead there if Luna hadn't come up.
I would say almost certainly, definitely dead.
Yeah.
If he had not been there, and that's one of the benefits of having that Annie on your team early. You can roam and be a significant damage threat, significant CC threat if you need to be.
Yeah, also very important that Luna took the W at level 1.
Yep.
So had that stun there available for use. So nicely played by Luna.
Yeah, unless you're just going to sit in lane, it's probably best to grab that W if you plan on doing any sort of movement around the map.
Yep. So as I was saying, about Korean Challenger, the reason why it's unlikely that any of these amateur teams can truly challenge these professional teams is because in Korea, most of the teams have very deep benches, even beyond the players, as we see a gank coming in here.
And they're going to try to take out Duke, but no.
Just a
continue.
Beyond the official rosters here in Champions for official substitutes, frequently, you know, teams like CJ have players beyond Helper, Trick, and Max on the bench. They have BDD, and they have players that are not official substitutes yet, but they still have kind of full practice squads. And these practice squads also compete in Challenger.
Tried to make a play on the Kube there, but no such luck for Watch.
So yeah, basically these guys are already living in these team houses, and that's a much more exciting prospect as an amateur player than trying to scrap it out as an amateur team. So most of the, I would say, top-tier amateur players are already on professional teams, B teams.
Yeah. I mean, really, it seems like the top teams in Korea here just sort of use the amateur league as sort of like scouting for players they want to add to their practice roster or maybe main roster. Yeah. So relegation is fairly safe, but you still don't want to go down there. You still don't want to give yourself the chance to get knocked out like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference between, I mean, this is all very tangential, but this is kind of the difference between Korea and the West, too, is that these organizations are so well established that, and so well known here, that having locking teams into the league actually makes sense in Korea from like a franchising perspective, rather than really having an up and down system, because you already know who the orgs are. So.
Yeah. Luna harassing Pure a little bit as he tries to protect that pink ward. Manages to take out one of the stealth wards of Pure, so a little bit of a trade there, but it works out okay for both sides, really.
Yeah, it does. I'm a bit surprised that Luna is in the top lane, because Gnar is a ranged top laner, and they could probably punish harder against the Maokai in bottom. But Kube having some problems getting CS here compared to Duke. Duke, especially since Duke is in that 1v1, he actually is able to farm with some saplings and start to move up when it comes to getting some nice pressure down, and they're just going to change him right over. So Najin has a successful lane swap. OQ surprisingly moving early down to that bottom side, but Fury only has a pickaxe.
Yeah, I mean, with that phage for OQ, he could harass him quite a bit.
Yeah, usually you don't want to move over till you're kind of 6 or close to 6, so it's a bit premature.
It's a bit OQ of him to do that.
Yeah, with how well, I mean, now Nara's caught up from that last wave, but here we go.
Oh, gank on the ground here. They're going to flash ahead. Didn't get him to play. Got him with the knockup. Nice death sentence to pull him back, and that's first blood going to Goong.
Yeah, using 3 flashes for that, though, to get both summoners out of Crown. A little bit of a mistake on the play, but they still caught Crown in the end, so Goong with that first blood. And he's going to get rolling early on that Victor. It was nicely played at the end, particularly that death sentence follow-up was quite good.
Yeah, Pure didn't quite get too much out of the play, so he had that death sentence ready to go right after the flash from Crown and landed it very well.
And here we go,
now
watch.
Luna has to burn his flash in a little bit of trouble. That's another summoner down for Samsung.
If he had gotten knocked up right there, he would have had some real trouble, because that would have been chained into a flay and a hook from Pure.
Right.
And considering that gank just went down in the mid lane, it was a little bit iffy for him to be there, because they immediately had control over that side of the jungle without Eve there. So questionable movement, I think, from Luna. But doesn't have to pay for it too much.
Yep, back in lane already, as we have the duo lane going up against each other here in bot. Eve sneaking up to top lane, but he's going to be seen by a ward, so no real worry for Duke here, it looks like.
Kuve is going to hit 6 before, or right now, so you'll notice that gank timing happens right as Kuve hits 6, but he was seen, so there's not going to be that opportunity, but that's what they wanted.
Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Luna. Is he going to get out? Summoner heal used, but OQ still grabs a kill and gets out. Nice synergy for Pure to have that Dark Passage ready to pull him right back.
Man, if you're Luna, you cannot walk up like that onto Pure. You don't have a flash anymore, and the damage was right there once OQ hit 6. So here we go,
there's a dive onto Fury. Yeah, they've got Rek'Sai right there, and Fury is not going to make it out. Flashes ahead to try to get the kill onto Pure, but no such luck with that Summoner heal from OQ, keeping him nice and healthy.
That was a very nice play from Najin. The immediate follow-up now, they're not going to contest the blue buff. They are too low to make that work, but 3 kills already on the board, and Najin executing some nice dives, good play around the mid lane. And, you know, Najin this clean, I don't even know what to think about this, Doa, because we haven't seen them look this good in terms of execution all season.
It's it's Worlds time, man. I mean, you've seen the meme. It's Worlds time, but the thing is like once they get to Worlds, then what's going to happen? That's the main question.
The Najin way is to randomly power up before Worlds. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it for many seasons in a row now. I mean, all the way back to Season 2 when Najin's Sword was not the favorite to go to Worlds. It was, in fact, CJ Blaze, but they were beaten in the gauntlet by Najin's Sword way back in the day. And at that point, you know, they come to Worlds like they do last year, and they had that amazing run to the Korean qualifiers. They had to win 3 consecutive best-of-3s to make it there, taking out teams like SK Telecom, the KT Arrows, who had just won champions. They were looking red hot.
That's the thing, is that for 3 years in a row, Najin is the team that should not have gone to Worlds and then went to Worlds anyway. 3 years in a row, same situation.
I guess my hope this year, Doa, is that if they go to the World Championship, that it's not like last year where they just show up with nothing new, playing exactly the same thing they did a month previously.
Yeah, it would be nice. That was kind of a shocking disappointment last year.
Although I will say that I think that their individual players, if they were to go this year, are stronger. I mean, basically, like if we consider Zephyr compared to OQ, that's like a massive upgrade.
Oh yeah, certainly
And
night and day.
Duke has a larger champion pool than Save did, and is still a carry top laner. Goong's still here, Watch is still here. I think the only thing they downgraded on really was Pure for Gorilla, but
Yeah.
Pure's been playing well. He's
Pure's
solid.
Pure's still a strong support player.
Oh,
We see some action with
jeez.
Crown, and that's a 1v1. Goong just takes him out and casually swag walks away. Wow, I want to see the start of that one now. We're going to need a replay.
Especially since neither player had flash. So Crown, I think, was just trying to scoop him into the turret and then underestimated the amount of damage that Goong was going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Maybe Eve wasn't quite there yet. It's going to be interesting to see how this worked out. Eve still has flash.
Yeah, could have just been an issue with synergy between the jungler and the mid. Could have just been a bad decision by Crown. Nice outplay by Goong either way. And that's a big lead for Najin early on.
You know, what's going to be fun, Doa, is that if Najin keeps playing like this, watching Najin versus SK Telecom, which is in the last week of competition.
Suddenly is a bit more interesting, isn't
Right?
it? Yeah. Really is. I wonder. And a lot of teams have been catching up a little bit to SKT lately. We'll see. Well, Crown's going to have a tough time in this mid lane now if he hasn't already. Because Goong's going to be able to poke really, really hard with the Death Ray, with the Q. Here comes Watch.
Eve is here already.
Eve is already there, yeah.
They have no idea that Watch is there. They don't have
Oh,
good
Pierce
voice in
going
the
to
river.
flash play. It's a two-man, and here comes Watch from behind. You're very, very low.
Whoa,
but
big
nice, big
knock-up.
knock-up. Yeah, that's right. Rek'Sai doing work. Support goes down, but they did take out Fury. There's a flash from OQ. He missed his rocket, but Watch is there to get him with the Prey Seeker. Eve coming in, and Watch just doing a bit of body blocking to keep him safe. No, there's a knockup. They are going in, and that's a triple kill for Watch. Are you kidding me? What is this Najin team, and what have you done with the other Najin team?
That was a very nice play. Now, was there a mistake there? Potentially. No teleports coming through despite all of these ganks into the bottom side. I wonder what the status of that top lane was. Was Kuve worried about going down there with the twisted advance because they were standing very close to each other in the laning phase? Did he perhaps not have the Mega Gnar up?
I think the Mega Gnar had just ended when we went back up into the top lane after the fight in bot, and so both players would have been able to knock each other out of the teleports. I think that was the issue there, but I'm not sure. Either way, it's a big fight here. As Pure comes up to top, they want to make a play on the Kuve, but he's going to get away with that flash. Either way, a summoner burnt in favor of Najin.
Yeah, easy summoner. Just all Pure has to do, use those Boots of Moby, walk into lane, flash gone.
Boots of Moby, huh?
Boots of Moby, yep.
Let's see.
Moby boots, Boots of Moby, whatever you want.
The boots of the late 90s electronic artist.
That's right. Whatever happened to that guy anyway?
I'm sure he's still doing work. I just haven't seen any of it. Out there on the internet somewhere. You gotta wonder. I'm sure there's a VH1 special about it somewhere. Wait, is VH1 even still around?
I don't know. We don't live in America, so we don't have cable.
That's the thing, man. I haven't watched like American television for like 4 years now.
I haven't watched American.
It's been great, by the way.
I haven't watched American television for 10 years because as soon as I moved out of my parents' house and went to college, I just never had a TV or cable ever again.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of similar with me, too. I really didn't watch TV after. What do you know? Internet generation, yo. That's right. Oh, Goong just keeping the lane nice and pushed up onto Crown here. I don't think he's done too much damage to that turret yet, but he should start poking away at it fairly soon as Najin moves towards his dragon.
And man, the difference between OQ and Fury right now is huge. Pickaxe, Zerker Greaves, and Avarice Blade compared to a completed Trinity Force. There is no way that Samsung can fight this. Their best plan is to turtle until the ultra late game because they're so far behind. Najin's in a big power spike. They have 2-0 on Goong, 2-0-3 on OQ. So Samsung, fortunately for them, they have great wave clear. They have Azir turrets to try and turtle this, but it's still going to be super hard for them.
Yeah, I think it will.
Especially right when the Baron spawns, because Najin's in a place where they can easily get that objective or force a fight.
Well, Najin's doing a good job now after taking that dragon of just moving up and taking control of the bottom jungle too. So, you know, at this point, Samsung really only controls about 25% of the map, and that's slipping away fairly quickly too. Looks like the mid lane turret's just going to go down.
Yeah, Duke is deep in the enemy jungle too, so they're trying to back off. They don't know where Duke is, and they're scared.
Yep.
He could just come in from behind, but you know, maybe the solution for Najin is Duke is just always brawling with a CC champion with the other top laners, so you don't have to worry about TP.
That's a good point.
Nobody TPs.
If you're bad at TP, you just want to make sure that the other guy who's pretty good at it can't do it. It's a good. I understand that. It makes sense. It's like a perverted logic, but it does make sense.
When Duke's there, no one TPs.
Fine. Nobody gets to teleport now. If I can't teleport well, you can't either.
It is amazing that we've seen no TP plays in spite of the fact that there have been multiple skirmishes before 16 minutes.
You know, not that Cuvée is like the best teleport top laner ever, but still, I mean, Duke just, like you said, probably just isn't allowing it. Watch getting spotted by that ward, but he'll take it out with the sweeping lens. Meanwhile, Tibbers down onto Pure. Oku trying to protect him. Pure getting very, very low. There's the box. He pounces in for the kill. Going to give one up to Oku, and that's yet another kill for the Najin 80 carry. And yep, now the teleport coming down, and Luna in a lot of trouble. Have you seen my bear Tibbers? I could really use him right now.
Too bad. He's on cooldown.
He's dead. Tibbers is dead. Like Gangplank randomly. And Luna on the run. It's the Grand Annie Chase 2015.
All right, this is getting silly.
Who says Annie isn't a mobility champion? There we go. Flash and Watch should be able to finish him off. Well, Oku's going to get it with the rocket. There we go.
That was a merry little chase. They allowed Crown to actually get some turret damage down, maybe lasting a little bit too long because Cuvée also has some free shots at the turret. He didn't use TP to follow that up. There was no point in using TP for him there, but not quite going to take down the tower. Here comes the Lantern. OQ.
Oh, Cuvée.
Hey, he's just been around the entire map at this point. He's still going in. Goong is here too.
Yeah, that's right. They really want to take up here. Wow, nice grab right on the hop with that death sentence. Chaos Storm zones out Crown as OQ finishes off the Gnar. Oh, man.
That was a great reaction from Najin because we saw Crown pull out of the mid lane just because he saw them coming, but basically Cuvée overcommitted to that top damage, and Najin walked all the way from the blue side jungle of Samsung around the back of the Dragon Pit, through the mid lane and into the top lane on a murder train basically through Samsung.
Well, we talked about how decisively Najin has been closing out their games lately, and it looks like this one's going to be kind of along the same lines, but it really is shocking just to see how tight Najin looks right now.
What happened?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's an excellent question.
All right, well, OQ has a Trinity Force and a Blade of the Ruin King at 18 minutes. Typically, we'd see, if you're lucky, a Cutlass at this time alongside the Trinity Force, but he is so damn fed.
Yeah.
He's ahead in CS, and he's 5-0-3.
Yep. That's a Corki with 80% kill participation as well. That's, yeah, it's a nice stat. And Pure, man, Pure's plays have been so good this game. Like, even the response, even when he died in bot lane the last time to get the box down to get things locked up enough for Najin to get 2 kills out of it.
Yeah, and coming back to Najin's power, remember, these are losing matchups that they are playing. They got the lane swap, which certainly helped alleviate some of that, but I mean, Azir should be able to poke out the Victor at least a little bit early. It's not too bad. And Goong just going to Gravity Well and choke. Sivir will use, but no follow-up, and Cuvée sitting under the tower. And of course, Sivir versus Corki pre-6. Now, they dodged most of that, but Gnar versus Maokai, definitely a favorable matchup for Gnar, being able to harass at range. So it's not like Najin was picking for lane strength here. Yeah. They've done this in spite of maybe having a little bit across the board. Yeah, forcing out the Summoner. He's afraid OQ is just going to go nuts on him.
And he certainly could have.
Yeah, he already used the Blade active, so there was a real possibility there.
Very true. Your attempts to throw a grab out. Yeah, I mean, this is not a game that a Corki should have a 5-0-3 stat line at 19 minutes. This is where you normally see Corki kind of struggling with the Sivir, but it's OQ. It's time to go to Worlds, guys.
I mean, Najin has done a very good job at reading the map here, and Duke going to turn this one around right now. He wants to go in, actually.
Right back in onto Kube. There's the arcane smash. Kube running away. That Mega Gnar is going to run out.
Goon's here.
Coming over the wall. There's the Death Ray. Have a Death Ray. Deathway. Deathway sounds like the grocery store I would like to shop at the least out of all grocery stores.
Not like Safeway. It's the opposite of
That's
Safeway.
an unsafe way. Yeah, Deathway. It's true. Sale on salmonella. Yep.
Well, I love how Najin's been playing this out. You look at the total package of this game, the vision control that they've been able to get into, the bottom side jungle consistently, the pressure they're putting on the map, their ability to create kills, and also just their skirmishing ability, and then the follow-up dives have been so crisp, really. I mean, Watch getting that triple kill was impressive, but man, this has just been a great game for Najin.
It really has. Not so great for Samsung, but you know, what do you do? Najin just came into this with a will to dominate, and they certainly pulled it off. Duke trying to defend that top lane turret. Looks like Kube should be able to take it out. We'll see if he pays for it, though. He may actually just get killed. OQ, speaking of killing, Fury flashes, and that is not going to work. OQ with the easy 1v1. Pure wasn't even there.
OQ didn't even have to use summoners to get that kill. That is how far ahead he is right now. Basically, the Sivir, if you get hit by that Blade of the Ruined King proc, you're just done.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, meanwhile, Samsung was able to get their first turret of the game for what good it's going to do them.
Wow. You know, it's not like Samsung is a top team in this league, but we saw them go 1-2 against Jin Air, and they looked okay, but they are just getting wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what you could classify as a raffle stomp. For sure.
And Najin too, you know, they're using the Corki power spike right now just to, with the Sheen, to get the turret damage. They're not being greedy yet and going for that Baron. Instead, they just continue to siege. As well they should. You have a Victor who's ahead. Really hard to deal with that if you're an Azir. Goon can continue just to press, and so can Corki. There's not a great answer to that. Sure, you have good wave clear, but at the same time, it takes, we've seen Faker do this with Victor. It takes multiple people to get this Victor out of lane, even if he's overextended like that, because the damage, the burst is just enormous.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a composition that you can do that kind of stuff with anyway, but the fact that you're getting to do it with a 6-0-3 Corki and a 3-0-3 Rek'Sai and all that just makes it that much stronger and that much harder for Samsung to do anything about.
Yeah, I agree. I wish Watch had built damage this game. You get a triple kill on Rek'Sai early, screw it. Just build Warrior Enchant.
It's not something you really plan on getting, but I don't know. Watch kind of has his way of playing each champion. He just does that every game.
It's true. He will build the Cinder Hulk Lee Sin, but I think that if you have that much of an early game advantage as a jungler, just use that gold and just sit in the enemy jungle and 1v1 their solo laners. You know what I mean?
He's scarred by solo queue, though, because you can play Rek'Sai in solo queue, and you can get like 3 or 4 kills and go damage, and then once the laning phase ends, your team just feeds one by one into the enemy team until they get a big lead, and you're like, oh, if I had been tanky, maybe I could have made a bigger difference. That's what Watch is maybe where he's scarred by solo queue. Solo queue Rek'Sais have a very different experience, you know?
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Sometimes Rek'Sai, you just want to build Ravenous Hydra and wreck people.
Yeah, man.
Or Black Cleaver.
You can feed solo queues, or you can feed kills to your lane so easy with Rek'Sai. But it's keeping them from dying later on in the game. That's the plight of every jungler, isn't it?
Well, I guess Kuve's plan here, given his itemization, is just to sit with a lot of magic resist and a late Randuin's Omen, but he has no armor to deal with OQ, so OQ gets a free QSS out of this, especially because Eve is not building any tank stats either, which means that they're just not going to have an Aegis this game, which is not great against Corki Victor. I mean, this composition, who builds the Aegis? You can't have it on Annie. You need Annie to engage. You need her to have a glory or something.
Right. You think it'd have to be Eve if it was going to be anybody.
Well, yeah, but
whoa! And OQ just killed Fury again.
Oh my!
All right.
It's not like Fury. Fury is a very mechanical AD carry. We know him.
Yeah.
He has a lot of prowess in the laning phase, and OQ is just destroying him.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about going into this, Fury is genuinely, in every sense of the word, the carry of Samsung. He's the one they're relying on, and for him to die 1v1 multiple times really speaks, I think, to the strength of OQ, especially when you look at what the champion matchup is.
Well, also the fact that Najin did a very good job, especially Watch, of coming down, diving the tower, and getting the kills onto him early. They just outplayed Samsung in that regard in the skirmishing. So, well done.
Pretty much. And now the pressure onto the actual inhibitor turrets, dragging up in a minute 40-ish, so I'm sure Najin is just going to back off and take that on the way out, but there's just nothing that Samsung can do right now.
Where have you been, Najin? This was the team that I always wanted to see this year. I never got to see before.
Sandbag for 6 months and then go to Worlds, you know, the Najin way. Yep, just keep your true power secret.
To be fair, it wasn't like that last year. Najin Shield did make the spring finals against Samsung
Yeah, I
Blue, so they were doing okay in the middle.
See, this year has just been kind of like Dragon Ball Z for Najin, right? Where the entire year it's been 6 months of them just going, run, like powering up, and now this last week they finally like hit Super Saiyan, and now they're like Super Najin. Took them long, about the same length it takes in like the actual Dragon Ball Z show, about 6 months for something like that to happen.
Yeah. And it's surprising, and people may think that I'm overhyping them because they have been inconsistent, they have delivered good games, but I can tell you that in these last 3 games, we've never seen such clean play out of Najin.
Wow, that looks easy.
Yeah. Unafraid of the aggression. And look at this, it's perfectly safe too. They have wards, Pure is right there in the enemy jungle, right, cutting off the lane between the mid and the bottom inhibitor turrets, so that was a very smart play to make if you can win that 1v1.
While we were watching the replay, OQ actually forced Crown to go back too, just jumping in and doing a decent amount of damage to him. That blade active on the Azir.
But yeah, as for Najin, we just have never even seen this good shot calling out of them. The map play hasn't been there, but the last couple against Ku in this game, it has definitely noticeably improved.
Yeah. And so Dragon number 3, taken very smoothly by Najin Empire. What Samsung do? Oh, wow, that could have been really, really good.
Holy
look at all the damage.
That Victor damage.
If Luna had gotten hooked, he'd be dead right now.
Well, Luna is not building Catalyst, so he's going to be squishier than a normal Annie would.
And he's normally pretty squishy anyway.
Right, but we typically see them going for Righteous Glory, which helps that. So.
It does. Duke just still kind of hanging out his lane, and now the focus turns on to Baron for Najin. See if Samsung can do anything to stop them, but I kind of doubt it. Man, Eve's Spears is just doing nothing at this point. Still just sitting on that Rod of Ages and a Blasting Wand.
Yeah, the heals are okay, though. Healing for about 300 right now. We saw onto that Annie, so that is helpful when you're dealing with so much Death Ray and Rocket Spam in your face. So Duke looks like he is going to go back and just keep matching this Gnar. Kuve's has been powering up, though. At least he has some armor now to deal with OQ, but he's still a step behind OQ, managing to complete that last Whisper in time. Interestingly, OQ just decides not even to upgrade his boots this game. He just wants to duel people with his auto attacks and go all in instead of focus on the magic penetration, because he knows he's so far ahead in terms of even AD on the Sivir, who only has the Infinity Edge and the Shiv.
Yeah, why not? I mean, at this point, finishing your boots would actually kind of put a little bit of a delay in your strength.
Yeah, and honestly, because he already has the QSS, maybe he just goes for Berserker Greaves this game, which is unusual on Corki, but definitely viable in this scenario.
See it? Najin pushing into the top jungle now. Putting down a lot of wards. Goong's still doing a ton of damage.
Okay, just going to split push his way to victory. Watch gets caught out a little bit, but there's a Lantern.
Yeah, Pure making a play there. They did use Chaos Storm to keep Samsung at bay, so that is one ultimate out of the way that Samsung doesn't need to deal with, but it's not going to save their top turret. And wow, it's not going to stop OQ from doing a 1v2 on Eve and Fury. OQ, this is like, this is the scariest Corki I've ever seen.
Kuve just trying to get turrets down. This is a smart way for Samsung to play. They know how far they are in the hole, and the fact that Kuve, they keep getting this winning matchup where at least Kuve can start taking out towers.
Yeah. Split pushing arm, man. New meta.
No, it's good in this situation. Legitimately. As long as Duke just doesn't kill him once he gets out of.
He might.
Okay,
Oh,
goodbye.
OQ just killing people. That was about a 1v4 there, I guess you could say.
Yep, just QSSing
Yeah.
the anti-stun, killing the support, and now Duke on a rampage.
Oh, boy.
Kube has no more Hex Drinker.
Yeah, he's got his flash, but it's not going to get him too far away. Can he get enough slows down to escape here? Duke gets close enough. Where's the Twisted Advance cooldown? Doesn't quite get it in time. And Najin just going to go ahead and start Baron. Eva's right there, but pure running interference. Flash play on the Crown. Crown tries to flash right into the box. Gets out for now. They're still going to kill Fury and turn right back onto that Baron, I would imagine. Oh, watch recalling. A little bit low health, so that may be dangerous. True.
Yep, but Duke is able to recall right now. Watch can get right back in the pit with the Void Rush. So Baron incoming. Here comes the TP.
Yep.
Duke's just going to wait on this to see if they can bait anybody else. Great shot calling again. Duke can teleport to the tunnel on the outside of the pit right now. He's got a lot of good options.
Again, like just so crisp too. I mean, you're ready to flash play to start that one off, and everybody just jumps right on him. And there's the Baron for Najini Empire now, as if they didn't have enough of a lead already.
Yep, and Duke wanders into the bottom lane, but the wave already pushing their side wave control, looking strong for Najin, so they can immediately start to use this Baron.
Yeah, just need to push up mid a little bit, but even Pure is strong enough to do that.
I am
if
so
you're-
confused, Doa.
I don't know. I'm not confused by Najin anymore. You know why? Because I just, you know how you just go into this meditative trance sometimes, you know, you just clear your mind completely, and you're just like, what will be, and whatever Najin does, that is what they were meant to do. You know? Whether it's look absolutely terrible, like the worst team in the entire league, or potentially the best team in the entire league. Everything is right. Najin can do nothing wrong. They can only do what they were meant to do. Oh, OQ.
Crown trying to get behind him. There's the
Dodging
hook.
away. That's a lot of damage from Goon coming in. They get one already. There goes Fury. Double kill for Goon. He's going crazy now. Triple kill. Will he get the Quadra? No. OQ steals it away. And Goon does go down to Cuvée in the end, but that will be at least an inhibitor. That may just be the game right there.
Maybe. We'll see how fast they can move through this. There's not a lot of wave clear with Cuvée right there.
Yeah, that's true. They did lose Goong as well, too, but 30-second death timers. Luna's going to be up fairly soon. OQ just decides to kill Cuvée, because why not? Just why not? He's Corky. He's Corky Death Machine.
This is the most fun game I've seen from OQ.
No kidding. I didn't think he could go full OQ on Corky, but apparently I was wrong. That's going to be 2 inhibitors now, and they're just going to back off safely, and I like this a lot. They could have tried to end the game, but they played very safely instead.
Go back.
Perfect.
You still have Empowered Recall. You've got another Dragon in 30 seconds right now. Take that. Make sure you can close this game.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this replay again because it was impressive. Now, they have to try and make a play. So Crown just gets hooked right there, but that amount of burst damage is insane. Double kill instantly for Goog. And why not dive this at this point? Goog's going to tank the turret. Maybe a little bit sloppy right there. Gets killed by a Gnar ult, but doesn't really matter. That is just how far ahead Goong is right now.
Yeah, if you're a mid laner and you get 3 kills and then die, it's like, well, what more does your team really want you to do at that point?
So a desperate defense with the Azir turret. It's just not going to be enough.
Oh, here we go. Emperor's Divide used, but the knockup still comes through on some of the Samsung members. Luna drops the Tibbers for the disengage, but
you know things are going badly when you have to use Tibbers for that kind of disengage.
Yep, pretty much. You're like, well, that Tibbers caused us to not immediately die, and that's the only benefit.
Side wave control there for Najin too. This team is played a very clean game.
Extremely good. We're going to see everything closed out. Looks like in the mid-30s as far as minutes go, which is about as fast as you can do it these days.
I like what Najin did too. I talked about the Dragon, but they had already set up this massive minion wave at the top lane, push down mid, immediately rotate top, take down that third inhibitor. It's an even better play than taking that Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, you can always go back to that Dragon anytime, but this is just the best opportunity to take this inhibitor. Tibbers just looks on sadly, and then finally just gives up on life. And Najin, they can kind of mill about. This is one of those games where OQ's going to be like, no guys, let's not end it. I just want more kills.
Oh, I hope not. Well, Watch goes back. Void Rush right there. No surprise, just topping up on his HP.
And here we go, waiting for that big minion wave. And Najin going after the Nexus turrets now. They grab Kube. Kube just with no tankiness at all to speak of. Yet another kill for OQ. Like I said, he wanted more, you know? There goes Nexus turret number 1. Fury caught even though he dodges that death sentence. Ember's Divide pushes Watch into the fountain. But that's going to be the end of the game anyway. Goong with another smooth double kill. Make that a triple kill. That is it. Najin Empire. OQ, geez. Oh, okay. He didn't die. He tried. He tried really hard at the end, but Najin takes a very, very smooth game. OQ 11-0-6 on that Corki. Gee, I wonder who the MVP is going to be.
Well, I mean, Watch played really well too, to his credit. But in this game, this is the third game in a row where it hasn't even been remotely close.
Nope.
Najin crushes the early game, and then clean closure. 33 minutes, they get all the objectives necessary, and they play very well, very measured, calculated, aggressive play. When you see them diving, they know where the members of Samsung are on the map. They have a plan. And why is Najin all of a sudden this coordinated? It is baffling.
It's this time of the year again. It's summer, man.